Hello, Oracles. Well, Tesla stock fell and closed below the $280 support level today. So that means we broke below that. Will we continue to fall down, or will we recover and close above it tomorrow? We have yet to see that tomorrow, and we'll see what goes on. But just paying attention to the charts right now, I was looking at the 5-minute chart, and one thing you guys can pay attention to if you're one who's following charts is look at like triple tests. So on the 5-minute chart for the day, we tested 280 3 times. We bounced off of it once, bounced off of it a second time, and then we broke through on the third time. Similar to what we saw previously when we were testing that $940 resistance level. We hit it once, hit it a second time, and that third time we bounced off hard. A lot of times when you're following charts, you'll see a test of a support or resistance level 3 times. And on that third try, if you break through, you tend to run quite a bit, and if you bounce off, you bounce off hard. So when we broke through it on the way down, we actually did fall relatively far, fell down into the low 270s, but then we recovered by the end of the day. So the positives that I see on this, on the 5-minute chart, there's a lot of volume coming in at the end of the day, not just for Tesla, but for the entire market. So that could lead to a green day tomorrow. Again, don't know for sure, we'll check the futures in the morning, but usually when you see some volume coming in on a positive manner at the end of the day, usually means that there's going to be some buying the next day. Now we have had 3 strong selling days in a row since last Friday. We had the Jackson Hole Symposium, a hawkish Fed coming out, we had a massive sell-off on Friday, more of a sell-off on Monday, and now about a 1% sell-off across the board in all the indices today. So even with this sell-off today and Tesla falling 2.5%, it still fell in line with the market. Remember, Tesla's beta is right around 2 right now at exactly a 2.18. So if you multiply the Nasdaq being down 1.1% by the 2.18, you come to about 2.41%, and Tesla's down 2.5%. So right in line with the market. So it's not like there's anything Tesla specific that caused Tesla to sell off today. And so continuing to look at the levels that we have going on, now that we have closed below 280, we'll monitor. If we close above it tomorrow, that's a good sign. We've recovered and gone back above it. Otherwise, below us, we have that gap at 259, we have the gap at 247, and we have support down at 245. Now, Abhishek asked an awesome question, where are there gaps in the S&P and the Nasdaq? Because, if the entire market is going to fall down and Tesla is following along with the market, perhaps Tesla fills these gaps at the same time that the entire market fills the gaps that they have. So I did a quick little bit of research and found out that the Nasdaq and the S&P have gaps on the exact same days. Tends to happen a bit when it comes to the broader market and all the indices, because the macro environment news that's going to move one tends to move the other as well. So looking at the gaps that we have for the Nasdaq and the S&P, I went back down to June because that was when we kind of recovered from that May bottom. So looking at the dip that we had back in June, we have a gap for the Nasdaq that goes down to 10,798 and a gap for the S&P that goes down to 3674. And both of those gaps came on June 17th. And the next gap that we have goes back to July 14th for the Nasdaq. That goes down to 11,251, and on the same day we have the gap for the S&P that goes down to 3790. After that, just 4 days later, we had gaps in both the Nasdaq and the S&P on July 18th. And the Nasdaq gap goes down to 11,360, and the S&P gap goes down to 3830. Now, the last gap that we have stems back to July 26th, and for the Nasdaq, the gap is 11,562, and for the S&P, the gap is 3921. And an important level that we were paying attention to with the S&P was the 4,000 level, and we did close below 4,000. So we do have some room that we can fall below that if we do not close above it tomorrow. Just some things to pay attention to. Again, nobody knows the future, but looking at levels, look at how we've been trading all year long, looking at how gaps get filled and just the momentum of the market, we have been trending down. We kind of have a risk off and a negative sentiment feel in the market at the moment with a hawkish Fed coming out, CPI data coming out, quantitative tightening starting on Thursday. So I'm feeling a little bit in this pullback range. So do we fill these gaps or not? Let me know your thoughts in the comments if you think we are going to fill these gaps. Personally, again, what I have said when it comes to Tesla is I think it's not a bad thing. If we pull back a little bit, fill these gaps, and then have a nice rebound after that to go into a strong Q3 earnings and then a strong Q4, I think that would be very healthy for the stock market. So Just things to pay attention to. We still have a lot of uncertainty out there in the macro environment. When it comes to Tesla in particular, there's a lot of positivity going on. So the fundamentals for Tesla are very strong, and any buying opportunities that we get, I am personally going to be taking advantage of. Not financial advice, but that's what I'm going to be doing. I've been adding as we've been dipping all along, and if we do end up pulling down to fill that 247 gap, I have my stockpile of cash that I plan on dumping into it as well. So that's my strategy. We'll see what happens as the future plays on, but even if we don't get down to those levels, I'm still going to be adding as we dip. And in times like this, I know our emotions can go all over the place. We're thinking, hey, the stock just split. Why are we selling off? We never got our run into the split anyway. It's kind of disappointing. Why aren't we getting this euphoric rally? Well, you take a look at things and say, all right, well, we're following charts, we're understanding the sentiment, we're understanding the macro news, understanding the fact that Tesla is still following the macro environment. You'll learn the charts and just kind of how the market manipulates stock prices and the entire market when it comes to the charts. And then you say, you know what? Sometimes the hardest thing to do is nothing. Because you're thinking, well, should I sell? Are we going to fall further? Should I sell and then buy when we get lower? Should I buy more now because we're going to come back up? Sometimes just do nothing. For me, I dollar cost average every day because I want to do something, so I make sure to balance it with my entire cash lot and all the rest of my portfolio. But I'm like, sometimes just do nothing. So I wanted to buy today, but I'm like, I didn't. I just did my regular daily ad and that was it. So, just do what's best for you. You've got to do your own research and your own due diligence. Do what's best for you and your portfolio. I know many of you are already all in, so it doesn't matter. You're just watching and coming along for the ride, whether it's up or down. You have conviction that long-term down the road, we are going to be significantly higher than we are right now. So that's what I'm feeling as well, but I still like to add every single day. And we got some news today that when Elon was leaving the ONS conference over in Norway, where he was discussing a lot about FSD and how he's looking to have FSD wide released over in North America and potentially in Europe by the end of the year, which we had discussed as well on here, he stopped in Giga Berlin on his way home. It was an unplanned visit. He just decided to stop in there, had a few work and business meetings that were going on, but I'm sure that was a great boost to morale over in Giga Berlin. He hasn't been there since March, so it's been 5 months since he's been over there. It was really good for him to go there. We don't have any very specific details about the meetings that he had while he was in Berlin, but I'm sure checking out the factory, we know that there are a lot of analysts that were over there recently really touting the production of Giga Berlin and how it's coming along, and it sounds like they should be getting up to 2,000 vehicles per week shortly. We know that they hit 1,000 vehicles per week about a month ago. We've been building up, and Tesla Karov over on Twitter has been talking about how they're building up, and last we knew, his estimates were around 258 vehicles per day. Now, I believe that they are still functioning on 5 days per week and 2 shifts. Sounds like they are looking to put a 3rd shift on come December, and they should be producing 4680 batteries out of there in October. Those are the last words that I had gotten. If you guys have any updated information, please share in the comments below. And in some other stock news when it comes to Tesla, Elon sent out a second request to terminate the Twitter deal based upon the information they found out from the whistleblower. So we found out that information a couple weeks ago about the security and how the higher-ups and the board members at Twitter, really aren't incentivized to get rid of the bots. So it kind of backs up and supports Elon's thesis about the fact that, they have been lying to the SEC and all of their shareholders about how many bots are actually there on Twitter. So we'll see how this goes through. Still going to come down to the Delaware court to decide if in fact this is worth terminating the deal or if they're still going to make him renegotiate and maybe bring it down to a lower price. Lots of things that we still have to figure out. That court date is October 17th. So we'll find out, how they react to this to see if maybe they decide that they're going to renegotiate and come up with some sort of bargain earlier than the court date. We don't know for sure, but we know that if the termination does happen for the Twitter deal, Elon did say that he will buy the stock back up. That could be a huge turning point for the stock. We know how much the stock fell when he sold, so it will just end up turning that stock price around when he buys back in. So all in all, we sold off a little bit today. We closed below 280. That was a little disappointing, but again, we had talked about it before as something that was a potential that could happen. We saw it happen. So let me know in the comments below if you guys took advantage of us falling down a little bit. Maybe you bought a little bit more. Looking at the RSI, we're down to 44. We've seen it happen earlier this year. The stock and the RSI keep on pulling down a little bit, and then we see a nice healthy recovery come afterwards. This could easily happen again. We could pull down, RSI maybe pulls down to the low 30s, and then we rebound and come back up. This to me is not a concern. I will continue to monitor on a daily basis, but to me this is looking like it's going to become a buying opportunity for us for the future. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you guys do today? How did you feel? Did you buy more? Did you sell some? Maybe you were concerned. Let me know your thoughts. I know some of you guys flipped some stocks in your IRA. Let me know how you're kind of doing that now that we're post-split. Let me know if you're flipping any there. I haven't gotten to that point yet. I still have my buys in at 250, so if we get to that level, I will be buying 3 more shares at that point, and then I'll be looking to maybe convert some more if we pull down to that 245 level as well. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. We do have a Discord chat. That link is down in the description. And if you'd like to support the channel any further, we do have a Patreon. That link is also in the description. Thank you so much. Have a great one.